Today we're going to be doing Dr. Pepper mousse. This would be a mousse roast done in the slow cooker with Dr. Pepper, onions, some iced tea, garlic powder mix as a dry rub, and we're going to be doing it on a bed of red onions. We're going to also be incorporating the maple barbecue sauce, which I've done in the past. This will all be incorporated into the slow cooker, and it's going to be a long slow cook, a good 6 to 7 hours. The mousse roast will then be shredded apart. I'll use the sauce as a spread over some buns and serve just like a full. A couple of red onions. I'm going to use this for a base in my slow cooker. Make sure they're peeled. Again, easy way to remember to not cry when you're doing an onion. Just give it a score. Take the outer layer complete with the fine membrane of skin. Peel that off. Discard that. And again, with a sharp knife, reduces all the chances of having any tears come out. And here we're just going to take these, give them a rough chop. We're going to take these onions, we're just going to do a bed in the bottom of the slow cooker, so our mousse roast doesn't go directly into the pot and touch the surface itself. It's going to be sitting on the onions. As it cooks down and renders, the onions will be sweet, give it a flavor. And there again, if you don't have red onions, regular yellow onions, white, sweet onions, they all work. Here, I'll give you a good look what it looks like in the base here. So at this point, I'm going to get my roast of mousse ready. I've already got my dry rub mix, which is iced tea and powdered mix, sea salt, garlic powder, pepper, coriander. Alright, here we have roughly a 3.5 to 4 pound mousse roast. It's still partially frozen. The outer portion is thawed out, but the inside is still frozen. It's going to make it easier to prepare. Give it a good generous rub everywhere on the outside. There again, the iced tea and the garlic powder really have a punch of a flavor on this. Alright, give it a good heat. This is one of these situations where a little bit more is not a waste. So I've got a good layer of my iced tea powder mix everywhere on this roast, as you can see. You've got the option to either sear it at this point and sear in those flavors, or put it into the crock pot. Myself, I'm just going to take it and put it straight in the crock pot, frozen. Like I say, this is going to be as simple as can be. If you want to add a little bit of mustard powder at this point, you can. Mustard powder will give it a different kind of flavor. You don't have to have a whole lot to add to it. Just give it a light sprinkling. It is roughly 8 to 10 ounces of Dr. Pepper. Either a can, a bottle, just enough to cover the onions in the bottom, and a little bit of the roast. This is going to give it a real sweet flavor. And remember, what you don't use of this, you're going to be incorporating afterwards to make your barbecue sauce. Here we're going to add a layer of our maple barbecue sauce that I made from scratch earlier this year. It's got onions, garlic, spices. You're just going to give it a good liberal covering like that. And then we're going to cover this up. You can see here, I've let this roast go overnight in the slow cooker. It kind of slept in. Lucky I had it on the slowest setting. But my barbecue sauce, my Dr. Pepper, my onions, everything has been rendered down. And this moose roast is literally falling apart. Now we're going to take this and we're going to pull it out. Okay, we're going to try and pull this out without having it shred all over the place on us. You can see it's very, very, very well cooked. It's falling apart. You don't have to worry about getting pieces of onions and everything else in there. It'll all get shredded apart and incorporated back together with the sauce. And this is where we can get to have a little bit of fun, get a couple of forks, and just literally pull everything apart. Those of you who have done pulled pork before, this is exactly the same thing, but done with moose. You can do this with bear, deer, elk, antelope. It's kind of hard with antelope because it's a tiny, tiny roast, but you get the idea. It's just a matter of breaking up all these long fibers. You can see all that coloration with the Dr. Pepper and the maple sauce. It's gotten into everywhere. It doesn't take too long when it's hot. Everything just falls apart. If you were to let this cool for any length of time, it would congeal and get stiff again. So you do everything when it's hot. And it doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to be pulled. Mix everything up so you get all the different ends, the center pieces, all done together. So here we're going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to take my very liquid sauce and I'm going to render it down a little bit more. I'm going to add some cornstarch to it to thicken it up, and I'll incorporate everything together.